I think account-based marketing can be a practice for any company to get into if they're willing to put in the work, right? The companies that have the ducks in a row, companies that are ready to take on this very strategic, highly customer-centric approach would be most suited for ABM. Otherwise, it would lead to very unremarkable results, I would say, without that level of investment.
You are listening to This is Product Marketing, brought to you by Product Marketing Hive, the product marketing community that gives back. And I'm your host, Louise Liu. In this episode, Caryne Say, the Vice President of Marketing and Not Worldwide, shares her thoughts on account-based marketing. Let's dive into it right now. Hi, Caryne. Thank you for joining us today.
Hi, Louise. It's great to be here. Thanks for having me. This is the last day of the year too. I feel very honored to be doing this.
Thank you. So our topic today is account-based marketing. In your own words, what is account-based marketing? And then what are the differences and similarities compared to inbound marketing, you think?
Sure. So at its very simplest, I would say that account-based marketing, ABM, is all about tailoring your marketing and your messaging to meet the business needs of a specific account or even groups of accounts. It's more of an approach, not a tactic. And it's all about, insights-led marketing, combining that with highly targeted sales activity to boost relationships and growth in these target accounts. Compare that with inbound marketing. I would say that inbound marketing is more of a tactic. It's aimed at generating highly qualified site traffic to your website. And it could be focused on target accounts, or more broadly, these are generic buyer personas, regardless of the accounts that they come from, or neither at all. So inbound marketing is really just one of the many tactics that you would deploy to get at account-based marketing, if that makes sense.
Yeah, totally. That's very clear. Thank you. So how is account-based marketing usually implemented in the company?
Yeah, so it's a process, and like all process, there are multiple steps that you would need to get from A to Z, right? But I'm going to summarize it into three key things that you really need to think about. So it starts with building the strategy that are tied to your goals. Then, you want to start defining and building new content and campaigns, your messaging platform really, that will meet that strategy. And finally, you wrap up with, implementation, literally hitting send on that campaign. So let me break down each aspect of this process for you. With strategy, what I mean by strategy here and what's most important is defining the targets that you want to target. And how, based on your understanding of the target segments, the buyers, and the buying processes. So unlike traditional marketing, research here will be key to account-based marketing. The information that you get, the insights that you yield from it will enable you to craft these highly targeted communications that will help you cut through the noise and increase the relevance of your offering to your target account. So account-based marketing is all about being very laser focused on who exactly that you want to go after. So on top of your target accounts list and the research that you put in them, right, you also need to know who's involved in the buying decision in that account and how that decision is made by them. So this is all about understanding your potential buyers, the business goals, the challenges, the pain points, right, the personal drivers, the objections, the goals. So the more research, the better research these personas are, right? The stronger your pillar is for crafting content and communications and campaigns that would truly resonate for your target accounts and the people within them.
Yeah,
so that's all about strategy. It's two levels, right? Account and the people in the account that you want to get in front of, and the research that goes into it. Now, once you have that set up, you want to think about your key messages, right? Content here is what will give you the feel to execute on that strategy. So with ABM, you do need a variety of content, right? If you think about it, there are all these decision makers and influencers within the account. You need to think about content that you need to tailor to those segments, to those personas within these accounts. Right? To do that, you need to stand up what I call a messaging platform. This is a platform that will combine your, value proposition, and the story that you want to tell, the narrative, right? Done well, this is a platform that will help frame up, that will set the structure, the foundation for building out your content strategy. The strategy that will help you tell your story well to your key audiences. Now, I'm going to move on to the final piece, which is all about implementation here. Once you have your research done, once you've your strategy developed, you've defined your, messaging and, identified the list of content assets that you want to create, you can then move on to campaign planning. So campaign planning is this playbook that will help you pull together everything, including, the sales and marketing tactics to go to market with, right? It's also this playbook that will document what your success metrics are and how you measure these. So is it, penetration? Is it engagement by buyer personas within those accounts? Is it engagement by only the executive of that account, right? So these are all things to lay out in your campaign plan.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you. This is very clear. As you were talking, you said the research is the very, very important, the pivotal point for setting up the strategy for account-based marketing. So for research, how do you usually go about it? And what do you suggest people to do?
Yeah, sure. So a couple of things that I've done in the past, Google is your best friend. So, start by Googling for information. At the same time, depending on the industry that you're in, you may want to lean in on associations that would have information on the target companies that you're going after. You may also want to talk to your sales reps who know these accounts well, right? There are multiple ways to go at it, but you could also potentially, reach out to, key personas in that account and talk directly to them. Right. It's all about relationship building too. So I think just setting up interviews, with specific people or, could be one way at getting at that research.
Yeah, I get it. So can you do account-based marketing at scale?
Sure. I certainly think that you can scale out your ABM efforts, right? So, you can simply scale by increasing the number of accounts that you want to target, right, at a 1-to-1 level. So I say this because there are essentially 3 types of ABM. First, that's the 1-to-1 strategic account-based marketing, right, for 1 to 10 accounts, right? So this is a very bespoke model. This is a very bespoke approach that you would deploy where the strategic gains and the sales wins are projected to be huge. You may want to scale to 1 to few ABM for 10 to 100 target accounts. You may want to pick your target accounts by the sectors and segments that show strong potential. Finally, you can also scale even further by adding more accounts, 1 to many programmatic ABM for 10 to 1,000 target accounts. This account level targeting can be accomplished by compiling insights, into generic buyer personas. Message here will be personalized, but it's done at scale to those personas, right? The goal here is really to generate high quality leads at scale. It's not necessary to get straight at the decision maker per se. Other ways to scale, you may want to consider rolling out the program to different geographies, right? Still focusing on the top accounts in each territory. Or you may want to extend the industry verticals that you want to penetrate, right? Or you may want to broaden your offerings to target accounts. So yeah, I guess my point here is like essentially the more times you do something, the more established your processes are, the quicker, the easier it is for you to scale your program.
For marketing, you still need to figure out who you're targeting, right? Like you need to still tailor the message. And the account-based marketing at scale, like how is it different from marketing?
Yeah, of course. I think the main difference between regular marketing and ABM is the research component to it. A lot of people would have buyer research, I hope, at the very least. So you need to do some research, but with account-based, also researching into the accounts. What are these buyer personas doing in the context of these accounts? So as a result, scaling account-based marketing, right? Once you have that system in place together, the research and the insights, you can start adding accounts to your approach. Regular marketing is, you can scale it. Your research is lighter. And what generally happens is then your regular marketing becomes more of a broad-based marketing. There's a reason why we end up with marketing qualified leads, that funnel, so to speak, because not everyone is targeted, right? Not everyone is qualified to be an opportunity.
So, are there any particular situations or companies that would not be suitable for implementing account-based marketing?
Yeah, so as you can imagine, right, ABM is very involving, in terms of the amount of research that's required, the level of planning that goes into it. So to be successful, what's needed first and foremost is, that executive buy-in at the highest level. What you want to do is to ensure that your efforts will be well funded, right? So what this means is you need to come prepared with, comprehensive forecasts of your ROI and the expenses that would entail in getting an initiative like this off the ground. Then, ABM also requires significant collaboration and alignment across multiple functions in the organization. It's not just a marketing thing, right? Your product needs to be on board on the types of customers that it will serve. Sales and marketing need to agree on the target list of accounts that you want to go after, right? Your marketing ops, your sales ops, they need to be ready to measure and track and report on your performance, on the results. So, to summarize, I would say that companies that have the ducks in a row, companies that are ready to take on this very strategic, highly customer-centric approach would be most suited for ABM. Otherwise, it would lead to very unremarkable results, I would say, without that level of investment.
Like I heard people were talking about like small companies, they can't do account-based marketing. I understand it in a way because like you said, there's so much effort and money goes into research stage. Yeah. You don't necessarily, get the results so quickly because research takes a long time to do. But again, like you said, you can start practical, like small accounts and then scale later. What are the balance here?
Yeah, so I think, account-based marketing can be a practice for any company to get into if they're willing to put in the work, right? So sure, it's good to have that budget, but I think, again, what's more important is, are you willing to do that research? Are you willing to craft messages that are very aligned to your account's needs? Right? It's that level of personalization. And I would say that if you have target accounts that show high potential, that return, right, would supersede any other efforts that you put in to get unqualified leads.
I see.
So again, I would say start small with it, use it as a supplement to your demand gen, your other marketing, but then think about how you might want to create efficiencies over time. Once you have that system set up, once you have that process, once you know who exactly should be your target account, the list that you have set up, once you've qualified that.
Yeah.
I would certainly not recommend focusing on ABM alone if you do not have all your ducks lined up, right? It's very involving, but it's always a good practice to get started with more of a focus than broad-based generic marketing.
I see. I like your advice of combining it with typical marketing efforts like demand generation and all that, because you need to experiment, optimize the process. Yeah, I like the advice.
Yeah. Exactly. And, I do recognize there are business models where they are super transactional. They are going after a high volume customers with lower price points, for example, in which case, it might not make sense to deploy account-based marketing because, by the time you conduct your research, it takes so much time. Again, but within that mix, there may be lifetime value customers that you want to go after, customers that you want to keep for a long time. Right. So account-based marketing could be used to boost, the LTVs of the customers that you bring into the funnel. So, yeah.
I see. Yeah. For a successful account-based marketing program, are there any key elements?
Yeah. So I would, for the sake of simplicity, just distill this down to 8 or 9 key components that you need to prepare for. As I mentioned earlier, getting that list of target accounts is key. Working with sales reps to make sure that you're going after the right types of accounts for this level of investment. Research and insights will be another area, right? The better you know your target accounts, the easier it will be for you to craft messages that would land. By personas, the people in these accounts that you want to get in front of. The personas, who they are, what roles they hold. Messaging platform, right? As I mentioned earlier, the framework that combines your value props, your key messages, and your narrative. Then the content strategy, all the different content assets that will help you fulfill your messaging framework. The campaign playbook is another one that will pull together all these different pieces. Finally, your ability to track and report and ongoing optimization is key here. It's certainly, like a lot of marketing, it's not a one and done, right? You need to launch it, and once you launch it, start gathering insights and then iterate from there.
Do you have any example of successful ABM stories to share with our audience?
I would say that most of my stories have involved engaging with key executives at the highest level, right? So a couple of tactics I've deployed. My goal there is to get in front of them, put them in the spotlight. Getting them to share their vision for the industry. Inviting them to a private roundtable with other key execs, because birds of a feather flock together. So those are some of the approaches that I've deployed to really get their attention. While I engage my executive, I also want to run air cover programs to the rest of the team members, the non-execs, because these are people who have influence in the decision-making process. Here, I would deploy, I guess, like more, not as high touch, but tailored but very on brand, content-driven digital experiences to them. Try to get in front of the influencers with tactics that would get attention online. Send them to a site or a personalized landing page where we deliver our value proposition geared towards them.
So how do you usually get buy-in for the initiative?
Yeah, certainly. I would say that because ABM is so personalized at the account level, right? You want to demonstrate the value of going after that account. Like what is its potential in terms of the revenue targets that it could bring, right? So you want to build a business case around the ROI, and then you want to come clear with a plan, with a strategy that will really penetrate that account. So this is something that needs to be well researched, and I would suggest doing this collaboratively with your sales team. I think it's more impactful if you get the support, because sales are prospecting and they certainly need help from you to get in front of these high value, highly strategic accounts. I would also say build out a business case by gathering input from your product team as well, right? Like think through your ideal product experience and how this product experience is a best match for specific types of customers. And these customers then that will become the focus of your account-based marketing.
Technology-wise, what does the tech stack of a typical account-based marketing program look like?
So again, this is one of the areas where it's a bit of a moving target. There's so many pieces of technology out there, right? But at the foundation level, I would say that you want to be able to lean on your regular CRM and your marketing automation to set up and organize your target accounts and their key contacts. When you're ready to target, you may want to start thinking about leveraging intent data from technology providers like Bombora or Demandbase to prioritize your target accounts based on their engagement behaviors that may denote that there's buying intent there. Now, as you target, as you think through how you want to engage and acquire your prospects, like you could think about leveraging, multiple channels to reach them. So this is back to the usual platforms that you have at your disposal, email marketing, social media. So you have tech platforms with social media like Google, LinkedIn, Instagram, what have you. You may want to think about platforms for display advertising as well. Right, syndication programs would require partnerships with media publications that could help you syndicate your content to engage your key account at the stage of their buying journey with you. So I would say that while technology can certainly help, it's more important for you to actually think through your strategy first. Apply smart thinking, right? Set up your target accounts list. Think about how you want to go after these accounts. your execution, right? Prioritize all that, and then only think through your tech stack to help you get there. A lot of times people start by, procuring the technology first, only to realize that maybe that's not necessarily the right technology to support your strategy.
So do you have any final thoughts for the folks who are thinking about setting up their account-based marketing program?
I would say, account-based can be for any organization, regardless of their maturity. I think if your company is willing to invest and get organized, as I mentioned earlier, right, it certainly would work. And you can start small and then scale up from there based on, the ways I've shared on how you might want to scale it. So, do not let this term throw you off, but instead be really practical. In any case, I would say that account-based marketing is what marketing should really be anyway, because, you are supporting your sales targets by being very focused, by going after people will benefit from, what you have to offer. So it is a big step away from broad brush, marketing, one and done marketing.
Yeah. This is great. Thank you for joining our talk today. This is really insightful. Thank you for sharing.
Thank you, Louise. It was great to chat with you about ABM too. There's so much more out there, and hopefully what I provided is just a teaser to all that, that is to come.
Thank you very much. Thank you for tuning into This is Product Marketing, brought to you by Product Marketing Hive, a product marketing community that gives back. Check out our website, productmarketinghive.com, to join our community, meet fellow product marketers, and access free resources, including training, playbooks, templates, and events. If you enjoyed our podcast, please subscribe and give a 5-star rating on the platform of your choice. See you next time.